Imagine a phone so thin it looks futuristic, but with a camera bump so massive it practically shouts for attention. That's the Galaxy S26 Edge, Samsung's next big flagship that's already leaking months ahead of launch. At just 5.5 millimeters at its slimmest point, this thing is razor thin. But then it suddenly jumps to 10.8 millimeters where the camera island sits. And that island? It stretches across more than a quarter of the back, making it one of the most polarizing designs Samsung has ever attempted. Now, why does this matter? Well, Samsung isn't just making another Edge phone here. The S26 Edge is meant to replace not one, but two models, the Galaxy S25 Edge and the Galaxy S25 Plus. That's a bold move, especially considering the S25 Edge didn't exactly fly off shelves earlier this year. By consolidating two models into one, Samsung is betting big on a single design carrying a lot of responsibility. If it works, it could streamline the Galaxy lineup. If it doesn't, Samsung risks losing ground to rivals like Apple's iPhone 17 Air or Google's Pixel 10 series. The design itself is going to divide people. On one hand, you've got this ultra-slim profile that makes the phone look sleek, modern, and futuristic. On the other hand, that giant rear hump makes it look, well, let's just say not everyone is going to love it. Some people will see it as bold and distinctive, others will call it straight-up ugly. But here's the interesting part. That bump might actually serve a purpose. Rumors suggest Samsung could be using the extra bulk to fit in larger internal components, possibly giving the phone more battery capacity while keeping most of the body paper-thin. If that's true, it might explain why the battery is expected to jump from 3,900 mAh on the S25 Edge to around 4,200 on the S26 Edge. Not the biggest cell we've ever seen, but definitely an improvement for such a thin device. Beyond the battery and the bump, the rest of the design feels familiar. A 6.7-inch display, slim and uniform bezels, rounded corners, and a centered punch-hole selfie camera. The phone's overall footprint, about 158 millimeters tall and 75 millimeters wide, is almost identical to its predecessors. It's the kind of size most people are already used to, striking a balance between big-screen entertainment and one-hand usability. Under the hood, Samsung isn't holding back. Depending on the region, you'll likely get Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 processor, paired with either 12 or 16 gigs of RAM. Storage options could go as high as a terabyte, which is more than enough even for power users. These specs basically guarantee top-tier performance whether you're gaming, multitasking, or shooting high-res photos and videos. Speaking of features, one of the most practical upgrades is support for Q2 wireless charging. This isn't a Samsung invention, both Google's Pixel 10 lineup and Apple's iPhone 17 are adopting it. But it finally puts Samsung in line with its biggest competitors. Built-in magnets will help align the phone more efficiently on wireless chargers, giving you faster, more reliable charging without the annoying misalignment issues we've all dealt with. It's not flashy, but it's one of those quality-of-life features that makes everyday use better. So where does that leave us? The Galaxy S26 Edge is shaping up to be one of the most daring phones Samsung has released in years. By going thinner than ever before while also exaggerating the camera bump, Samsung is clearly taking risks. Some people will love the boldness, others will hate it. And that's exactly the gamble Samsung seems willing to make. Personally, I think this phone shows how tricky it is to balance design, function, and market appeal. Ultra-thin phones have always been a crowd pleaser, but they usually come with compromises, smaller batteries, weaker cameras, or overheating issues. If Samsung really manages to pack a solid battery, powerful internals, and modern features into this razor-thin body, then maybe the giant hump is a trade-off worth accepting. But if the hump ends up being more form than function, this could easily backfire. At the end of the day, the Galaxy S26 Edge isn't just about looks. It's a test of whether Samsung can make bold design choices pay off in real-world use. And with this phone replacing two entire models, the stakes couldn't be higher. Some will see it as futuristic and sleek, others as awkward and over-designed. Either way, the S26 Edge is already one of the most talked-about phones of 2026, and Samsung wouldn't have it any other way. What's your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section. See you in the next video. Take care.